Its motto is simple: blood in, blood out. Since the days of Barry Mills, it has always been the same. An Aryan brother is without a care. He walks with the weak and heartless won't dare. And if by chance he should stumble and lose control, his brothers will be there to help reach his goal. For a worthy brother, no need is too great. He need not but ask. Fulfillment's his fate. For an Aryan brother, death holds no fear. Vengeance will be his through his brothers still here. John Greshner, a once prominent AB member who would later flip sides and work with the government, would say for the Aryan Brotherhood, murder is a way to make a social statement. If blacks attack whites, we send a message. We go pick one of their shot callers. We catch them walking across the prison yard under guard escort and handcuffs. It don't matter. We're going to butcher him in front of God and everybody at high noon in the middle of the yard. And it's not just going to be a few clean stab marks. It's going to be a vicious, brutal killing. Because that's how Brothers AB members take care of business. And a brother's work is never done. Michael Thompson, another AB who was known for his ruthlessness, that would change sides from gangster to helping the cops, would state publicly in 2007, "It's a criminal organization. We need to be clear on that. Is there racism? You bet there's racism. Is it dominant? No." The feds would lock in on the Aryan Brotherhood, and in 2006, Barry Mills and 3 other leaders of the AB would be found guilty during a federal racketeering trial, which included multiple counts of murder, conspiracy, and drug trafficking. In time, history would repeat itself. The feds would lock in on the newest faction of the Aryan Brotherhood. In June 2019, 16 members and associates of a prison-based Aryan Brotherhood gang would be charged after a long-running investigation into the drug trafficking and murders inside and outside of California's prisons. Murder and drug dealing from behind the walls outlined the indictment like a gruesome novel. But this was no novel. This was the Aryan Brotherhood at their best, or as some might say, their worst. Ronald Yandell, Daniel Danny Troxel, William Sylvester, Travis Burhop, Brant Daniel, Donald Mazza, Pat Brady, Michael Torres, and Jason Corbett, all California prisoners, were on the indictment. The indictment would spell out the violence and hatred that goes into the gang. Between 2011 and 2016, Aryan Brotherhood members and associates engaged in racketeering activity, committing multiple acts involving murder and drug trafficking offenses. Yandell and Sylvester oversaw a significant heroin and methamphetamine trafficking operation from their shared cell. They used smuggled-in cell phones to direct their drug trafficking activity from their cell to the streets of Sacramento and other California cities. Using a contraband cell phone, Yandell and Sylvester communicated with AB members and associates to direct drug trafficking activities, membership in the AB, ordered murders, and oversaw other criminal activities. According to federal prosecutors, they were ready for a big trial in pursuit of making sure the leaders never seen daylight outside of a federal prison cell or state. The government's case was to the point. All of these dudes wanted a rock, a shamrock, and wanted to be a part of this violent gang. The trial was sure to come, and there would be plenty of fireworks. The paperwork alleged that the AB members murdered 5 other inmates as part of their gang activities and conspired to murder several others. On October 7, 2011, Billy Sylvester murdered an inmate at Folsom State Prison. Ronald Richardson would be stabbed 31 times on that prison yard. Folsom would claim his life. And on August 12, 2015, AB associates carried out an order to murder a rival prison gang member at Folsom State Prison. The victim, Black Guerrilla family member Hugo Pinnell, Jason Beaver Weaver, and Waylon Pitchford wanted in, and there could be no better way at getting their rock than to slay Yogi Pinnell on B-Yard at Old Folsom. Yogi was a high-value target for the ABs. He had a history of provoking the AB members and white prisoners. Pinnell would spend many years at Pelican Bay, where he would openly antagonize Aryan Brotherhood members and other white inmates by airing racist opinions and provocative statements. He was signing his own death warrant. No one knew the day, the time, or the hour, but it was surely coming. And that it did. Beaver Weaver confronted Yogi on the B-Yard, striking him numerous times with his weapon of destruction. Grenades would go off, but nothing would stop the Beaver from taking the life of his target. When Yogi Pinnell hit the ground near the yard's canteen window, his face toward the exercise yard, the Beaver would climb on top of him, straddling him as he continued to stab him in the back. His partner in crime, Pitchford, would hold old Yogi's legs down, so there was no chance of escape. Death was his fate. This was the violent world of prison at its best. He did what the AB calls riding him into the dirt. It is expected that members will assault the victim until he is no longer breathing, even if doing so risks the attacker being shot or killed by prison cops. Today, the goal had been accomplished. The AB would rejoice in Yogi's death when word came back that he was rode all the way into the dirt. But this killing would set off a riot on the yard between the races. For 20 minutes, black and white inmates would exchange knife play, fists and cuffs, kicks, and violence. The riot would last 20 minutes, and it would rage on before prison cops could get it under control. Later on, Yandel would be caught around 6:16 p.m. on August 28, 2016 on that prison contraband cell phone that the feds had tapped, admitting to ordering the hit on Yogi while talking to Pat Brady, another AB member housed at High Desert. In addition, the government's complaint would allege that on October 15, 2016, on Corbett's order, an AB associate murdered an inmate at High Desert State Prison in Susanville. AB member Daniel killed an inmate at Salinas Valley Prison. It was still warm on October 15, 2016 at 1:32 p.m. when Bobby Stockton decided it was Doug Maynard's time to die on D-Yard. Jake Corbett would order that hit, and it was Maynard's dream to gain the rock. Doug's transgressions, he owed money for a drug debt at another prison that he had not paid. And now he would pay that debt at the hands of the AB and with his life. Because of his addiction and inability to pay for it, he was stamped out. The nasty politics of prison were in full swing. Corbett never liked Stockton, so he figured he could kill two birds with one stone, no pun intended. Maynard would be eliminated and Stockton would be transferred. Corbett never had any intention of letting his missile enter the fold. He was just that, a missile. But the plan of deceitfulness was in place. A knife was made for the killing and placed in a manila folder and given to Stockton by other associates. When he approached the prey on the yard, he immediately began stabbing him in the head and chest. Maynard would fall to the ground lifeless as Corbett would ride him to the dirt. The 6-inch metal knife had done the job. On October 29, 2016, at about 9:30 a.m., AB member Brant Daniel was on a mission to take a life, and that he did. This time, Zachary Scott would be the victim on B-Yard at Salinas Valley Prison. Leonard Dunning would assist in the life-taking. When the cops came, Zach would stand up with his white shirt soaked in blood. He would take 5 steps towards the prison cops, who are now his saviors, but he would find no refuge. He would fall to the ground trying to sit back up. He would spit blood from his lips, mouthing the words, "I cannot breathe." And then he would take his last breath. Daniel would yell out while being cuffed, "Yeah, I did it." He would yell louder to the other prisoners as he was led away. "In 72 hours, all you woods are going to have 14 days to get off this weak-ass PC yard." The message was clear. They had 14 days to assault another disfavored prisoner and get a transfer. July 20th, 2018, it was now time for the shot caller to do his own killing. On July 20th, 2018, Jake Corbett and Pat Brady would decimate Donald Pekin on the D facility at High Desert Prison. Brady, in true deceptiveness, would distract Brady as Corbett snuck up behind him and thrust a shank into his back, looking to penetrate Don's lungs. And when he began to run, Brady would pull his own knife out of his waistband. 2 other prisoners would intervene in intercepting Donald. Again, another prisoner would be rode to the dirt. With orders to get down when they knew the job had been done, the 2 killers would walk away, tossing the prison knives to the ground. On one knife, there was SS lightning bolts etched into its side. The symbol on one of the murder weapons was to let people know that this was an AB hit and they meant business. With 10 puncture wounds about his body, he would take his last breath in a prison yard. Many of the men would plead guilty and avoid trial, but the main players would proceed. Billy Sylvester, Danny Troxell, and Ronald Yandel, all old men now in their own right, would go to trial. All on edge, friendships and bonds would be shattered as the evidence mounted up. But was there really anything to lose? All had been lost already. ADX was their likely destination, and if the state keeps them, the same fate is surely theirs. Ronald, at 61 years old, would be beefing with 71-year-old Danny Troxell. Death threats were exchanged between the two on the ride from the Robert Matussi Federal Courthouse to New Folsom Prison. "So, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna fucking kill you. You're a rat." All sorts of explicits, the unnamed officer recounted in court, describing the exchange between Troxell and Yandel on the prison van. Ronald would be mad that Danny's defense was he was a peacemaker, shifting blame away from him and toward the other 2. But much of the cross-examination by Troxell's lawyer, Todd Laris, had served a different purpose. He has directly asked several witnesses whether Yandel and Sylvester broke Aryan Brotherhood codes of conduct. The beef would extend to the attorneys as well. The tensions boiled over after the jury left for the day on March 5th, when attorney Laris engaged in a back-and-forth name-calling match with Yandel, a West Contra Costa native. The following day, when Judge Mueller scolded Laris for joining the fray, he had an explanation ready that Yandel had started it. The lawyer had now become a snitch in open court. Yandel said, "You're a fucking piece of shit. You're a fucking piece of shit. Piece of shit. And so is your fat-ass friend there," Laris told Mueller, adding that he was surprised and taken aback that Yandel's attorney didn't have him under control. Laris, according to a court transcript, responded, "At least I'm not a rat," an especially cutting insult in the world of prison gang politics. The remark raised the temperature to 1,000 degrees. Yandel's lawyer, Stephen Collar, said in court the next day, "There is no greater insult for a defendant than to be accused of being a snitch. And Mr. Lara stating that to my client was jaw-dropping, Keller said. And Keller now became a snitch himself. In the end, it was all for nothing. Shifting blame on your brothers means nothing when the jury comes back finding guilt. Not surprisingly, following a 9-week trial, a federal jury found California State Prison Sacramento inmate Ronald Yandel, 61, guilty of 1 count of murder and 8 of racketeering for the murder of Hugo Pinnell, conspiracy to conduct the affairs of an enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity, 5 counts of conspiracy to commit murder and 8 of racketeering for the murders of Kenneth Johnson, James Mikey, Paul Diaz, Michael Trippi, and Doug Manyard. 2 counts of conspiracy to distribute and possess with intent to distribute meth and heroin, 5 counts of distribution of heroin, and 1 count of distribution of methamphetamine. The jury found California State Prison Sacramento inmate Danny Troxel, 71, guilty of conspiracy to conduct the affairs of an enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity and conspiracy to commit murder and 8 of racketeering for the murder of James Mikey. His defense, at the end, meant nothing. It could not save him. The jury found California State Prison inmate Billy Sylvester, a gangster in his own right, guilty of murder and 8 of racketeering for the murder of Ronald Richardson, conspiracy to conduct the affairs of an enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity, conspiracy to distribute and possess with intent to distribute meth and heroin, and distribution of meth. Like those of the past life sentences, that's what will likely be handed down. And these dudes, like those before them, will have until the sun burns out. An Aryan brother is without a care. He walks where the weak and heartless won't dare. And if by chance he should stumble and lose control, his brothers will be there to help reach his goal. For a worthy brother, no need is too great. He need not but ask, fulfillment's his fate. For an Aryan brother, death holds no fear. Vengeance will be his through his brothers still here.